Good morning, or whatever time it happens to be wherever you are. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Let me get this in a happy spot. Oh, there's my dog. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Mando. I'm a developer advocate for Google Cloud Platform, and I do a bunch of open source stuff in the gaming industry and all sorts of other Kubernetes type things and all sorts of other fun stuff. I want to have some fun today. Something I've actually wanted to build for a while. I have too many things in this open source project that I work on called Agones that is, let's just say, a little bit manual. It's not ideal. I have to do a bunch of steps for stuff. So what some of you may have noticed, which is kind of cool. Let me pop that over and let's switch over to screencast. There we go. So some of you might have noticed, recently we soft launched a new website for Agones, which I actually really, really like. We have a nice little landing page and all the good things here, and you can join us on Slack and you can join us on GitHub and you can do all this stuff. And the documentation is actually super nice now, and we've got a search and super cool, right? All really good stuff. And we've also got a bunch of things in here so that, we can do updates to documentation, right? And then hide new features until they come along and all sorts of good stuff like that. And we do that deliberately, right? So actually, I'll show you some of this. It's actually kind of neat. Let's pop over here. What branch am I on? I'm on master. Good. All right, sweet. So if I have a look in site, where is the thing? So if I look in content, for example, we have docs. Let's see, maybe guides even. Actually, I know where there's one. Under references, if we have a look in Fleet, we have some new stuff coming in Fleet called game server allocations. I'm not going to go deep into it now. But what we can see here is game server allocation isn't available yet in this version. So we actually have like these little shortcode sections that we can put in place that hide sections up until the next release. Which is super nice. It means that you can kind of develop against master and then just push stuff up to the actual website whenever you want, and you can just keep iterating and updating the documentation and keeping it live and fresh and fixing bugs and all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. And there's other stuff we're using. So I'll give you some background too, if you're curious as well. So this is using Hugo. So let's have a look. Hugo, where are we? Let's get Hugo off the top of my head. Yes, we're using Hugo. It's a static site generator. Hugo's super nice. I've been using it for a bunch of projects. Really, really like it. You can write stuff in Markdown. You can write all sorts of dynamic stuff, and it's super, super, super fast, which is really great. Really, really fast. And you can run it in memory locally. It's all really, really cool, which is great. And then what we're also using is we're using a theme called Doxy. This is a little open source project that came out of Google recently. I think they kind of soft launched it. I don't know if it's been really publicly documented, but this is the thing that gives us that really nice. If we have a look here, like this whole really nice view and some nice tooling for that landing pages and sort of a place to start, which is super nice. I have my tea. It's very important I have tea. Now, this is all really good. And what we're actually doing is, we generate this HTML files, basically, using Hugo and Doxy, and it all comes together. And what we end up doing is actually pushing this all up to App Engine. And we do this for a couple of reasons. One of which is App Engine is actually a really nice place to run static sites. You have a few different options, especially on Google Cloud for running static sites. But App Engine's kind of sweet in that you still get versioning and you can roll back versions and the stuff, which we'll look at in a minute, which is great. But the other thing is actually inside the site, we have some code. So there's a bunch of redirects in this site. One of which that handles, there's a redirect in place that handles, when you try and get a Go package and you want to get it through the agones.dev, URL. So we can go agones.dev/agones and you can go get it. And so there's a redirect in place for that. We actually hack a thing called vanity URLs. Actually, I'll show you that too, which is vanity URLs going. There was a project. Here we go vanity URL. So we took a copy of this and we tweaked it a little bit, and this has worked really well for us. So we've got a little bit of code that does that. We also had some other redirects in here as well. We have a redirect for Helm charts. So if you go to, if you go to Helm Hub, this is also neat. And you go have a look at Agones. Right, here we go. Everything's huge. Here, you actually can't see that. Where's that's the build card agent. Sorry, my bad. Here we go, Agones. We're up the top, which is neat. You can't see that in there, but that says Helm repo add agones.dev. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's just weird. Okay, cool. Let's copy that and we'll just chuck it in a thing. So you can see it says Helm repo add Agones, like agones.dev chart stable. So that actually is a redirect that goes in place and actually sends you back off to Google Cloud Storage bucket. So anyway, so there's some code in there as well as the static content. And that's super nice. And so what I want to have happen, and so where are we? console.cloud.google.com. So if you're not familiar with App Engine is just a platform as a service thing. Basically, it was like serverless before serverless was a thing. And where are we? App Engine. Here we go. Dashboard. And so we can bundle up this whole thing, send it up to App Engine using the gcloud tools, and it'll host and serve it for us without us really having to do anything, which is super nice. So here you can see versions. It's we've got a couple instances running. Boom, boom, boom. This is actually an old version that's here before, and we can probably just delete that. We actually don't need it anymore. And it works. This works pretty well. It's super nice. The thing that I don't like about this is that I need to manually run it whenever I want to update the website. And quite frankly, that's just something I'm going to forget to do. And that gives me a really high bus factor. I don't like being the center of attention for absolutely everything. I like being the center of attention for some things, but not everything. And so I'd really like to automate this. Now we actually have some of this already kind of done. If we actually have a look at, say, one of our pull requests, where's one that, oops, no, not your pull request, Agones. Here we go. So if we have a look at one of our pull requests, here's me fixing a bug with a data race. We actually have preview builds already firing up. So you can see here, preview of the website is here. So if it's built, and this is a preview version, so you're actually gonna get all the future stuff as well. For example, where are we? Creating a fleet. We'll get a bunch of extra new stuff. Where are we? Yeah, so this has game server allocation in it, we were talking about before, right? That's new. So we've kind of done this a bit, but we wanna do this specifically for here, and we want to promote it. We want it to be the top one. So for interest's sake, if you're actually looking at the previews, what we do is we deploy that to a preview service. That's basically like the same thing, just in a slightly different URL. That's a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more segregated. And that works out pretty well, but we want it to push to default. So I think we can do this pretty reasonably. And I'll make another fun point here as well. Now where are we? We do all our stuff through Cloud Build. Cloud Build is the CI/CD pipeline for whatchamacallit, for this. Why did that fail? That's interesting. Anyway, come back to that. CI/CD pipeline for Agones that we use. So we just use the Google Cloud Platform stuff because it's just good to use our own tools and see what works. And so that's good. Looks like that failed for some reason. Now I'm just kind of curious, but I won't digress too much. And this is Cloud Build's not bad. So what we do is we actually have this thing called a trigger that basically whenever stuff comes into the cloud source repository, we have some mirroring thing that takes the GitHub repo and mirrors it to a cloud source repository. That's our privately hosted Git repository. And then whenever it sees one of those, it runs this particular trigger. Actually, we have a look at the trigger itself. It's kind of pretty straightforward. We give it a name. Trigger type is on branch. We can do a regex on the branch thing. And then we specify what we want a cloud build configuration. And then we can substitute certain variables and do all sorts of fun stuff here too. And it's fine. It works. Like there's probably some cooler stuff out there, but this is pretty simple. We can actually have a look as well at our cloud build and have a look at some of this. Where cloud build YAML. I actually did some work recently to clean this up a lot, so it's a lot easier to look at. So you can see the site preview, and I think we can actually reuse some of this site preview stuff that we had previously and see if we can make it work a bit better. Now, so what do we got here? So this is the site preview section. Now it's gonna be interesting because we do some work This is actually going to be interesting. And I'll tell you why. So we have a whole slew of things that we do. That makes sense. That didn't make sense. Okay, so at the top of my cloud build, what I do is something I think is interesting, which is, she's going to be really interesting, which is to say that we basically build a image that has both Docker and make in it because we have a whole make and Docker driven development experience. That's how everything is kind of built within the system. So if I actually have a look in build, I have a make file. Actually, and I've included it. Includes, here we go, website. There we go. Makes life easy. So look, I have a thing that already says like site deploy, and it kind of already runs everything. So it sets up like the permissions and like has access to G-Cloud and like all that kind of stuff. I actually really like this, and seems like people have been enjoying using it too as more people have come on the project. Basically means that as long as you have make and you have Docker, you're good to go, and it'll build all the stuff for you. I do have some teammates that have built some tooling around it to escape it in some places, and that's fine too. But this makes life really easy. But it does mean that cloud build, we need to do some extra work to get this stuff to work. So we might actually have to duplicate some of that. So anyway, so we build this particular image. Although, interesting. So what we could do, what this does, all right, so I'll just take you through because this is actually, I think this will help me work this out. So we create this image, we call, where are we? We create this image called, what do we call it? Called make Docker. There we go. We basically extend the Docker image. We just install make, right? And then we set an entry point, right? We actually write this file at runtime because, yeah, it's kind of hacky, but it works pretty well. We could write this out to a real file and just build it that way, but this actually, for a 4-line Docker file, like whatevs. YOLO, you only live once, it's fine. Then we build it, and then what we do here is interesting. We pull the build image, and let's actually look at that because that's interesting. Pull the build image. We try and Docker pull basically the build remote tag. Where does that come from? Let's have a look. So that is the registry with build tag. Build tag is the build version. Interesting. Okay. Build version comes from where? Where does that come from? Build version. Build version is not found. Interesting. Where does that come from then? Unless it comes from include. In project. It does. It comes from an include. Okay. This is some operating system specific stuff. All right. All right. So the build version is, okay. So we SHA-256 it. Got it. All right. Cool. Got it. It's slightly different on each thing. And then on Windows, it's, looks like it's kind of the same on all of them, actually. I don't see, I see SHA-A. Okay, cool. All right, so we have a build version. So in theory, by the time, basically what I want to have happen is as code comes in, it goes through a normal build process, so yay, and it would have gone through the build process, that would have built the build image already, in which case I think we can assume that pull build image will always work in this case, which I think is fine. And in reality, it should never rebuild the image. It's never like, yeah, because we have a thing here. If you build the image, then we actually push it back up if it's a thing, but we shouldn't have to do that in this step. All right, so we make this build image. So in theory, we make the build image. Everything is golden. We feel pretty good about ourselves. That seems pretty good. All right, sweet. So let's, all right, we do a bunch of stuff. Here we go, site preview. So this starts up. Okay, so we give it an ID. We tell it we need it waiting for tests. That's this part. That's fine. This is the directory we're in, so build, awesome. And then we build a site static preview, and then we generate our app YAML, and we tell it to go to preview. So basically we, what does that do? So site static preview creates a site static with args, enabling it to see the next version. Cool. But what we really want is site static, which doesn't overwrite anything. So, all right, so that's all fine. I'm just having a look here. Site static preview, how is that different? So we run site static, we pass in args. Oh, I see, we allow args to be passed in through here. Okay, so that's where it actually runs Hugo. We can pass in different environment variables too. Awesome, that's nice. And so we do args equals f, and then we we overwrite our release version inside that args. We can actually pass through stuff, right? So we can actually, so that there's stuff in here to enable you to say, okay, if you're 0.7.0 now, then like pretend like you're 0.8.0. I think that makes sense. Hopefully, let me know if it doesn't make sense. I'm happy to explain further. So what we should be able to do is all right, and so what happens? Okay, so we create some directories, we install some node tools, because for whatever reason I can't install those globally. I don't know why, but if I install them locally, everything works in Hugo. There's some npm things that Hugo uses because reasons, something to do with CSS that I know nothing about. Now there's another fun thing, which is because we're pushing up Go code, we need to have a Go path. And the project structure isn't set up as if it was a Go path, so we kind of fake it. That's what we do. So that's fun. Oh, I skipped a step though. So what I do actually here is I create a fake Go path. I make dir p like Go source, and I copy in the things that need to go in there, and it's pretty much ready to go. And then I basically use the gcloud command, and I tell it to deploy, and I give it a version and all that kind of good stuff. And I can specify the Go path on here. There was one small thing that I actually did skip. I did skip one particular thing, which was here, site gen app YAML. To be able to specify which service it goes to in your app engine, it has to be part of this app YAML configuration file. And we can see that here. So what I actually have, where are we? Sites, not that one, app.yaml. You specify the service, and here this is actually all the static file handling here too. This specifies like, hey, this is all static stuff. Like use that and don't use the Go code for that. But it needs to be hard coded in this file. There's no dynamic way of setting this, so we kind of generate a file. You'll see actually here's a version of it. Here's app.yaml, right? And then we specify what the service is. So we've done this a little bit before. And I have some code that's gonna let me do this. So gen app YAML here, docker run. So we actually use a thing called env substitute. If anyone's played with that before, it's really handy. Basically, it is a nice way of taking environment variables and substituting them all within a particular file. You could do the same thing with sed, but this is actually super easy. So like you can see here, that's my environment variable, and it will just do the work for me. So here I am saying, here's my service that gets passed through here. Substitute, here's my app YAML that's the originating template, and then I spit it out into a .app YAML, which is the thing I'm actually going to use. Woo! I think that gives enough background. I think hopefully that gives enough background. Okay, so my thoughts this. I'm gonna put a cloud build inside this side. So let's do that. Where are we? Yep, new. We'll call it cloud build.yaml. Beautiful. All right, cool. Make sure no one's messaging me to say me anything else. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, cool. First thing I actually do need is a license. Otherwise, glorious employer will be mad. So let's start with that. And I can use this as a reference, actually. let's just start stealing some things. So what I want to do is I'm going to build a cloud build, and basically I want to set it up as a trigger for whenever something gets merged to master, so that we can push this with promotion. That's it. And I think we can copy a lot of the steps. I kind of wish cloud build had some include functionality. That would be super nice. But you know what? We can make this thing work. Push to builder. What do I want to call this? Push site to production on merge with master. That seems pretty legit. Cool. We have steps. All right. So I think we can steal some of this stuff. So let's just grab that. So the thing I discovered recently is inside YAML, if you want to like add big spaces and stuff and like have big comments, it does not care, which is super nice. So we create the make thing. Yep. That's all good. Create the initial make and Docker build platform. Awesome. And pull build image. All right. So I think at this point, since we are past CI build, we can assume that the build image exists. I think that's fair. And that looks pretty good. All right. So that seems pretty cool. I think we can make that work. Ooh, you know what we can do as well to make our lives a bit easier. We're here. Do I have the cloud build? Oh, I do. Okay. So gcloud. Let's flip that. Here we go. Gcloud components list. So there is a. Oh, that's really ugly. Here we go. There is a local tooling for cloud build. Where is it? Cloud build local. Here we go. So there's this local thing. You can actually run the whole build pipeline and tooling all locally. I don't tend to do that myself, although in this instance we probably could. Be interesting. I have tended to use it just to make sure that my YAML is all valid. But we can do that. So what I tend to do is do this is dry run equals true, config equals cloud build YAML, and dot. Sweet. Yeah. All right. And that looks good. So basically I've used this as a way to basically be like, is my YAML good? And that's, you can run your full steps through here. I don't think I'm going to. I don't want it to pull down that big build image and stuff. But this is, at the very least, a very nice way of being like, did I make a typo here? Right? Like if I put that in there, it's going to be like unknown field, right? What is that? I don't know what that is. So this gives me some nice tooling to get started with. So that's pretty sweet. All right. So hopefully we can put together some other bits and pieces, and let's see how we go. Okay. All right. So I think I can steal a bunch of this, which actually makes me really happy. Here we go. So let's go site preview. Boom, boom, boom. Thing is, I don't need this to build anything once I'm done. So this is here we go. So build site and deploy. Build production version of the site. This is why also having all this make stuff is quite nice, which is pretty sweet. So this needs to wait for, actually I don't think I need any wait fors in this because there's nothing. Ooh, so if you don't know what a wait for is, Cloud Builder lets you do stuff in parallel. So wait for lets you dictate, hey, if I'm doing stuff in parallel, make sure these particular things, like these IDs, for example, have finished. But by default, everything is sequential, so like it's all pretty easy. I think there really is nothing that we want to run in non-sequential. So I think actually we can strip it all because it's all sequential. We basically just want to go one after the other after the other. All right. Cool. So, all right. So we pull the build image. Yay. And then that's fun. What does that actually do again? I'm just having a quick, just out of curiosity, make, whoops. File, that'll do it. Pull, build, I don't know why it's down there. Come here. Pull, build image, there we go. So here, I don't know why it just dropped in the bottom right hand corner. I need to restart it. Cool, so, okay, right. Oh, I see, and then it retags it, okay. So it pulls it down, there's a particular remote tag, and then it basically retags it as what we would expect it to be locally. That's how we build stuff. That's totally fine. Okay, cool. So we pull down the build image. Sweet, that is really good. And then what do we do? All right, so we site static preview. We do not want a site static preview. We want the real thing. So, whoops, let's bring back, why is that so huge? Thank you, website.mk. So we just want site static. So we're just gonna build that. Site gen app YAML. Let's have a look at that. I think we don't have to do anything there. Default service is default, which is what we want. We want the default service because we want it. That's what everything is. So we can get rid of that. We want to fake a new go path. So what do we do here? So we make go/source. That all looks good. Oh, this is going to be interesting. How am I going to test this? I think I'm going to have to test it. Yeah, I think I know how I'm going to have to test this. That's right. This will be fun because I want to push it. Eventually, I want this to be aimed at master, but it won't be yet. It'll be pointed at the branch that I will end up creating. That's okay. All right, so we create, so what we do here is we make inside the workspace, which is the default cloud build space. We create a go and source. We move all of site into go source. Sweet. We have some dependencies, so I'm just going to copy all of go package.in, basically read some YAML files into go source and... Oh, I actually just have a look and see what's in the site. That last thing, that little like ls at the end, is actually really handy just to see exactly what ended up in there, and means that if something goes wrong, it's much easier to debug and just be like, hey, what was actually in the top like part of that? It makes it all right. So deploy the website. All right, gcloud deploy app YAML. We do want to promote that. We want that there, and the version should be short hot. Right. So I actually want the version. I like this is one thing I like. So when you push up a version, by default it has like this whole combination of what was the word? And the version has got like a whole bunch of date stuff in it, like 2019 and all that kind of stuff. What I really want, and I think makes life easy, is I want to have the basically the git hash, so we know exactly where it comes from. And so I like using the short SHA, which is like 7 bytes of the thing. So if we actually have a look, we have that already, which is inside App Engine. If we have a look at versions, like we're already kind of doing that, right? So here you can see that's the first 7 bytes of that, which is quite nice. And we'll actually see too, which is kind of nice. Here you'll actually see, boom, right? Like the site itself actually says when it was last modified, which I also really like. We have like what release version we're up to and all this good stuff. So that's all there. Okay, deploy the website version. We want to promote it. I think that's right. Let me just double check that. So we have the commands here: gcloud app deploy help. Here we go. I think promote is actually the default. So I think actually we can even just drop promote. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. No, stop previous version. We don't care about that. Image URL, don't care about that. Version I've set. All right, I think bucket. Yeah, promote. Oh, no, promote. Here we go. Yeah. Override the default app promote by default property value of this command application. Okay. All right. I would like to be explicit and specify promote. That makes me happy. All right. Sweet. All right, that looks pretty good. All right. I think actually this might be pretty close. So let's bring this back. Minus B site GitOps. Let's call it that because we're powering things through the power of Git. Git add minus A. Cool. This is all just ZSH commands, git commits. Continuous. How do you spell? Here we go. Let's do the thing I always do. Scratches and console. Scratches. Scratch.md. I'm just going to write my commit message here and copy paste it in. Continuous deployment of agones.dev. This is a cloud build script that will enable agones.dev to be updated whenever a commit, a PR is merged into master. Cool, that's better. All right. Lovely. All right, so let's push that up. Let's get that up on the website. It's a good start. And the good thing is, right, like I'm using App Engine too, so I can kind of do this with a bit of impunity in that if something goes horribly wrong, I can always roll back to a previous version. That's fine. I've also got manual tools. I've got like a make, do, site, deploy, but I really don't want to be doing that myself. That's just awful. So let's have a look at pull requests real quick. GitOps comparing pull request. Lovely. All right, sweet. Labels, build tools. And do we have like an area site? Oh, we do. Perfect. All right, sweet. Yeah, I don't know if build tool is actually. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. I actually don't know if build tool is legit. I think just area sites and probably feature actually. Whoops, not design. Feature. That seems more legit. We'll give it a milestone. I like to triage my stuff. All right, let's create this pull request. Ooh. All right, cool. So there's a couple of fun things. Let's see if this actually works. All right, so pop over to Cloud Build. So I've got some scripts in place essentially that does this. Unfortunately, Cloud Build doesn't handle PRs out of the box really well. But I've got some little scripts that, here we go, you can see like create this GitHub PR 527 branch. And we can actually see that in our source repos as well. It basically just pings it on a regular basis and goes and has a look up in the Git repository. And where are we? Source repositories. Here we go. Boom. And make sure that it exists. Here we go. Agones, blah, blah, blah. And so if I have a look at my branches, like I've got a lot, like there's a lot there, and I can actually go here and go PRR, and it's just a convention I came up with myself, right? And we have a look inside site, and we can see here's our cloud build YAML. All right, this is what we created. So we can test against this. Let me pop back to the cloud console. We'll let the tests happen in the background, but let's go over to Cloud Build. There we go. We'll say triggers. Let's add a trigger. Cloud source repository. Agones, that's what it goes through. Call it site deploy. Is there a better name? Anyway, if anyone has a better name, we'll call it that. Branch right now, it's going to be GitHub PR 527. Matches the branch 527. Beautiful. Changes affecting at least one file. Ooh. Can I do multiple globs? Because that'd be cool. I could make it ignore anything that doesn't have a HTML or Markdown file change. That's a good one. Oh, that's interesting. Let's have a look. Include files filter glob. Give me a... that's not the best. Build triggers, here we go. Because I want to have multiple, like it's either, here we go, what, glob strings, etc. Like go match, here we go, what's that mean? Ooh, pattern term, any sequence, character range. Can somebody give me an example here? Matches character, star, question mark. What's this? Character range. We might just leave this off and just build it every time, which is fine. But I really love an example of what that actually looks like. Okay, specify file in both includes and star readme.md ignored files source star. Oh, so we could actually just do site star. Oh yeah, that's really good. Let's do that. Right? Because if anything changes in site, awesome. But if anything changes outside of site, we actually don't care. That's actually really cool. I didn't actually think of that. Oh, sweet. That's sweet. Is it site star or site star star? This is also really good, really interesting question. All right, so star. It's there. Alternation. Wow. Oh, you can do things like that. Oh, that's kind of brace expansion and interesting things. Okay, I don't care about that actually right now. I think actually just doing stuff inside the site folder is perfectly acceptable. Glob. I think star means everything. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Double glob is almost the same as single asterisk, multiple directory levels. So basically, if anything changes underneath. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we want. If anything happens, oops, what do I want is site star. Oh, you can do multiples. Look at that. Oh, that's kind of cool. Whoops, I did that wrong. What I want is site star. But that's actually, that's for reals legit. That's awesome. If anything happens under site, then that should fire. Cool. That seems legit. Nope. We want a cloud build configuration /site/cloud build. I think that's correct because that's the one we want. Let's just double check that I did that right. Site cloud build. That looks right. Awesome. Alrighty. Cool. Yeah, I'm just going to do it on this PR right now. I'll need to change that to master when it's done, but that looks pretty good. Let's run the trigger. Branched build. Build started. All right, let's have a look and see what happens. Expand all. So there's the git commit. Ooh, what happens if we click that? That's kind of cool. Boom, boom, boom. All right, that's the change in site. That's literally that. So it should be fine. Oh, here we go. We're getting a bunch of stuff. Checking out files. Starting build. Here we go. Pulling image Ubuntu. I wonder if there's a local image that is a locally cached image. And they're just straight up Ubuntu. I feel like there probably is. All right, cool. Already has image. Beautiful. This is pulling the build image. Awesome, because it should be there, right? We already did CI. We haven't changed it. Everything's fine. And what we should see at the end of this, while that's running, let's have a look. Give me another cloud console. Here we go. What I want to do is go over to App Engine. Oh, that's running in the background. Versions. Here we go. So what we should see happen at the end of this is we'll get a new instance of this, and whatchamacallit, a new instance of this, and what's the words I'm looking for? The words I'm looking for are we had a new version of this, and oh my god. We get a new version of this, and it's promoted, so it's getting all the traffic allocation. So we're getting 100% of the traffic in there. All right, so this is doing the pulling of the build image. Cool, perfect. Let's see if something breaks. Something's got to break, right? This can't work first time. That would be boring. Let's see these logs too. All right, so I like looking at it over here. Okay, so we're doing not a lot. What's coming next? Here we go. We pulled it. Already have image. What is going on? Oh, no. Oh, I think there's more stuff coming. I'm not sure. What does it say down here? I am genuinely unsure of what is happening. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ah, cool, cool, cool. All right, so we did that step. Here we go. So we have started up the log. What is this? This is the site static, generate the site static, and then the generate the app YAML. So here we go. That's Hugo generating all the stuff. Building sites. All right, we're installing a bunch of npm stuff. Cool, cool, cool. Yep, that's fine. Oh no, that's a skipped, that's an ignored thing. I know that because that's basically trying to do some cleanup before it's done. Oh, yep, beautiful. There we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Already have the image. Yep. So that is deploying. Yep. So either it has deployed or it is deploying. And interesting, this actually fires another cloud build to make this happen, which is kind of sweet. So what happens here is it tells it to run, where are we? This tells it, here we go. This here, which is my Agones, right? Like, oh, there's a spelling mistake there. That's a whole other thing. Is that spelled wrong? Is that with an I? Yeah, it is. It's with an I. Oh, it's a plural. Huh. Learn something new. Okay, not a spelling mistake. Anyway, so when this runs, whichever one it was, it starts a new one of these. And so if we refresh, boom, freaking worked. Look at that. That worked for the first time. That's actually really cool. There we go. And it deployed and it pushed. And if we have a look at agones.dev, right, everything looks pretty much the same. If we have a look at our documentation. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. Continuous deployment of agones.dev. Last modified today. Awesome. That's super cool. And that makes me very happy. So that now means that, that now means that whenever something comes along and somebody makes a change to the site, that will actually update the site. What have we done? I don't think we've updated anything specifically. I'm trying to think of of a difference that we've made, and I can go look for it. There was something. Oh my God. Was it this one? No, I think it was in the installation guide. Install with Helm, possibly. Configuration stuff. Yep, nope, no idea. Because the thing is, everything new is hidden. I thought there was something. I changed some. Is there stuff about? Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Guides, metrics. Here we go. And we talked about, I updated some stuff with Prometheus. Beautiful. Yeah, nice. Metrics is available. Grafana, beautiful installation. Prometheus installation using the Helm stable. You can also use Makefile target or Prometheus YAML. This is the thing I actually changed. Beautiful, and that actually links to the right spot too. Awesome. That's working. That's ace. That actually makes me super happy. Cool. How are we doing for time? We have time. We are good. We can do some more things. What else can we do? I just want to have a look at my schedule for today. Yep, I'm good for a little while longer. Excellent. Boom, boom, boom. This has been tested, and it works. Agones.dev was updated using this script. We now have GitOps for the website. And we need to have an emoji of people dancing because that's awesome. Comments. Fantastic. That makes me very okay. That was actually way easier than I thought it was gonna be. Cool. Not too bad. I had enough good foundational stuff in there to make that a reality. So that makes me super, super happy. Let's have a quick look at some of my pull requests. See if anything's been approved. Nope. Okay. I was hoping some other things would happen and I could do some other cool stuff, but that's okay. All right. So we have some time. So let's do some other things. Here we go. Let's check out master. I assume there's nothing new because nothing's been merged. Beautiful. Excellent. All right. What's my to-do? I have this little to-do directory that tells me things that I need to do. This is basically my dump of, I have a crazy idea. I should write it down. And so I put it here. What did I want to do? There's a couple of little things we can definitely do. We should update the Go versions. This is actually a really good time for me to get some stuff done so that those little finicky things. I still can't believe that worked first time. That makes me super happy. So let's have a look. They just released Go 1.11.5, and there was a recently reported security issue. That's bad. And we don't want that to happen. TLS handshakes, yeah, we do some TLS-ish type stuff. So we should update. This should actually be really easy though. So let's have a look. Golang releases. Let's have a look. Here we go. Release history. Go 1.11. Yeah, 1.11.5. Should be pretty straightforward. Now, what's nice here is nice B security update Go. Let's just create a new thing. Is we can everything is built using these Docker images, so it's actually a pretty straightforward change. We might have to check a couple of other Docker files just to be absolutely safe. But it's only like one or two places. The big important one here is the base build image that has pretty much everything in it. And where are we? And this installs pretty much all the things. We might end up removing the Rust stuff. Here we go. Go version 1.11.4. So you know what? I'm just gonna have a quick look. Let's have a look at that. Let's just open that in Find window. That's gonna make life easy. Oops. This is built for me having a wide screen, which I don't have right now. So, whoops. Give me the Find window. Thank you. All right, cool. So, change log. Do not care about that. Build image, that's important. Go, that's okay. So we have a couple of examples, but I'm not going to rebuild them. They're just examples, but I will update the files. This is the one that's really important. So the good thing is all I have to do is do that. And that should rebuild everything, which is super nice. And we'll see that in a minute. So boom, boom, and boom. So that's that. Let's test it, make sure it works. Which way do I want to test this? Let's make Minikube cluster. Fire that up real quick in the background. All right, so let's run that. While that's also happening, we will exit this. That was our interactive shell. Oh, that'll actually do what we need to do anyway. So when I start up the Minikube test cluster, it actually has the thing that says, hey, is the build image there? We couldn't find the Agones build image, which it can't. So it's just going to go and build that in the background so we can actually see it setting up Go and doing all the good stuff. Oh, good. It skipped over Rust. We really need to drop the Rust stuff. Move that to like community support or something. I don't think anyone's actually using it. Nobody's touched it in ages. Okay, cool. So that's gonna build a bunch of things and install a bunch of stuff, and then start up Minikube for me, which will be nice. So let's let that happen in the background. So what I actually want. Here we go. I'm gonna boom do that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna write the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna write the commit while that's happening in the background, because it should all be fine, but here we go. Update, go to, I like to put security 1.11.5, updating go tooling because of security issue in crypto. What was it? Crypto ellipses? Here we go. Which I don't think we actually used, but you know, you don't know what uses other things. Details. Oops. Grab that. All right. That seems legit. Oop. What did I just do? I just did something. There we go. Beautiful. Git commits, splat. That's actually an interesting question. Yeah, it does have that in there. All right, cool. So if you're at all interested, this might be interesting. So the way this is set up, and while it automatically rebuilds once we change the Docker file, is it actually does a SHA of the Docker file itself, and that becomes part of the basically part of the tag. And so if you ever have to change, oh god, it is doing Rust stuff. Okay, if you ever have to change the what's the words I'm looking for? If you ever have to change the Docker file itself, then because it's a shard file and that is part of the tag, then you automatically get a new version because it just does that for you. Actually, have a look if you're at all interested while that's spinning up in the background and compiling and destroying my CPU. So hopefully it's doing stuff. So where are we? Oh, ensure build image config. So, oops, that's not right. Ensure build image, here we go. So we have some local stuff. So basically we go and have a look at Docker images and see whether the build tag is there. And we had a look at that build tag previously, right? That's the SHA of the file plus just a name. And then we were like, okay, so if we can't find it, then we build it. Like that's really it. And then we build the build image, right? That's almost like a factory. Build image. And then we just build the build image. Like it's nothing magic there, but it's super easy to. It was actually super easy to write as a tool, but it sort of made life easy. So, oh my god, is this going to take forever? We'll see how we go. What I'd like to do is compile it and make sure everything works, and install it on the Minikube cluster and that kind of stuff too. So what I can do. No, I don't want to completely hammer my CPU because right now it is having lots and lots of fun because, you know, streaming and stuff. So, oh, here we go. That's doing better. Yeah, I think we need to what's the words I'm looking for? Either pull the Rust stuff out or something. I don't know. That's Hugo. A bunch of other stuff. What is that? I don't even know. What is that? I don't know. Stuff, all the things. And like I said, this is all quite nice in that I don't actually have to remember how any of this stuff works. It just installs it all. There we go. All right, so we are starting up Minikube, and it is telling me that there's a new version of Minikube, and I should update. I will do that at some point. So we can do that. So while that's spinning up, we will say J build. Let's build our images. So we can do that. J-4 basically tells it to build whatchamacallit, to build things in parallel. There's a question on the Twitch, what is in Rust? So we actually have a Rust SDK that somebody wrote. They sort of just swung by and dropped it off. So we have a look in SDKs. There's a Rust SDK, so if you want to hook up to the internal SDK that comes with Agones, you can do that. It's not really been well supported up until this point. Like, as new features come out, we haven't updated it because nobody's doing stuff with it. It'd be pretty easy to update. It should all still work, at least in theory. But I'm thinking we might want to push that to a community member and say, like, hey, like, if you want to keep this up to date, awesome. But probably isn't going to be part of our core supported, tested set is sort of what I'm thinking. Right. But I want to make sure it has a good home before we do that. It just adds a whole bunch of tooling to everything we do, and we're not updating it. I'd much rather see us do support for something like Node, which we're getting a lot of requests for. And like Unity and Unreal, like those are coming. That would make me much happier. It's just a question of time and effort and work. Cool. That will actually probably take a little bit to compile just because we have a new version of Go. Usually that's actually quite fast now. We use the local caching and that kind of good stuff. One more lang, no thanks. What do you mean? What is it, Bokjo? What do you mean by one more lang, no thanks? Let's see while that's going through. Everything's spinning up. Probably should have started Minikube before we got started. Everything's compiling. Oh my god. Let's see what my CPU looks like. It's probably really bad. Yep, totally pegged. I'm doing too much stuff at once. Something finished. Oh, one more language to learn. Yeah, don't worry. Rust is cool. I like Rust a lot for a lot of reasons. It just doesn't have penetration in the areas in which I wish it did. I kind of, like, anywhere that I turn around, I'm like, I wish I could, C++ seems like a really good fit here. I'm like, oh, I wish I could write this in Rust. But it just doesn't quite have the penetration that I want in some of these areas. But I really like Rust as a language. It makes me very happy. All right, so that's compiling. That's coming. Here we go. There we go. There we go. All right, that's just doing some zipping up of stuff, which is fine. Nobody cares. All right, beautiful. Clusters coming up too. See these running in parallel. Beautiful. All right. Here's cluster. All right, tiller is being spun up. So if I go make, so here's we go. Let's see if we can do a Minikube shell. Let's do that. So let's see if we pods. I like to just make sure everything's all up and running. Beautiful. All right, beautiful. That looks good. All right, so just J. Oh, there's yeah, that's what I want. So I'm just going to tell it to push up all the images into Minikube and do it in parallel and then install it. And then if that works, then I think this PR is good to go. Hopefully you can't hear that noise from outside. People have been renovating. If this all works, then I think we'll probably call it a day. But let's see how we go. All right, so what am I doing? That's installed. Let's just get all our pods and have a look. And unsurprisingly, everything is running. Beautiful. What did I just do? Uh-oh, what did I just do? Ha! Killed it. All right, let's just bring it back up again. And switch back into my Agones. Okay, there we go. That looks good. kubectl logs, namespace, Agones system. Let's just have a look at the Agones controller. Yep, that all works. Okay, cool. So that's good. Git push -u origin security update go. Let's commit this, and I think that will be quite nice. Come back over here, have a look at our pull requests. Boom, security, comparing pull request. Updating Go tooling, beautiful, labels, security, and build tools. 0.8. Create pull request. There we go. Awesome. There we go. So yeah, I think that's a good spot to finish. We did a couple of really cool PRs for Agones, stuff I can now tick off my list. Actually, let's take that off my list right here. Update Go version. Beautiful. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. You can follow me at Neurotic on Twitter. I usually tweet out when I'm doing stuff on here, so you can hear about what I'm doing. Recording will go up on YouTube very shortly. Please follow me here on Twitch. It was super fun to hang out with all of you as well. I'm gonna go do some other things. Probably answer a bunch of emails is what I'll do. But yes, please follow me. I usually stream first thing in the morning on Pacific time on Tuesdays, so like 9 a.m. I might get a bit more flexible with it. We'll see how we go. But I'm really having fun doing this, so I'm going to keep doing it and get back into it this year because streaming development is lots of fun. So yes, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for sending me questions and doing all that good stuff. I should be back next Tuesday as well if you want to come back and visit me. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. Follow me here. You can see below. I've got the YouTubes and all the other fun things. All right, cool. I'm going to wander off. I will see you all later.